It is party time, Mom. Welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show. We're sitting here in the mothership, which is Studio 22. Once again, this is Tuesday night. We're going to risk our lives for you, the listener, the watcher, the viewer, the person who comes here every night to get your wit, wisdom, common sense, craziness, and just all out minutia of the things going on in the world today. And today we're going to talk about the Clinton body count. People are going to die here today. That's all I got to say. We're going to talk about the Clintons. I'm going to come out and I'm going to tell you my real opinions about what I think about William and Hillary Clinton. Hill and Bill, we're going to talk about it. Sitting in a hot seat, our favorite guest, as always, Sarah Gonzalez, the host of the news and why it matters. Are you a little nervous? I could be a little nervous.
I would just like to say I know nothing about the Clintons. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, we're
I don't want to
going
wind up
to
dead.
freely speculate today
Yes.
is what we're going to do.
Yes.
We're going to freely speculate on some things that are going on. Sitting over there in the in the kick-ass beef jerky
Is this a brightest shirt
peanut
you've ever
gallery.
seen?
It's like you got a sponsor over there. You drinking a Bloody Mary and you got your kick-ass beef jerky.
Nope, I can't have sponsors on here.
You can. You're not under contract for anything.
But
There
I
you
did
go.
get some kick-ass beef jerky.
You're a what you are.
So,
If
kick-ass
the Clintons are
Bloody
watching this,
He looks
let's
so
start
fancy.
with the party foul, okay?
Bloody Mary, kick-ass Bloody Mary mix.
You did look fancy with that Bloody Mary until you shoved that whatever it is in your
That
mouth.
asparagus.
Asparagus.
Keto-friendly, right?
Yes.
He
it
looks
is.
at you like, it's asparagus. Yeah. And it's going to make your pee stink. And driving the mothership at the helm, as always, the puppet master himself, Mr. Mark Tate. Hey, buddy,
Hello.
what's going on?
Not much.
Are
Another
you
day.
nervous? Are you afraid? See, Candace,
Yeah.
Candice, queen of the Ethiopians, she is not here because she's scared.
She's the smart one.
She's
out
the
of all
smart
this.
one.
Yeah, she is.
Hey, let me tell you guys, before we get into the show, I want to tell you something about home title lock. Capital One data breach just hit. 106 million of us had our names, our home addresses, and banking information exposed. Forget credit card theft. The greatest risk is home title fraud. Title fraud is rampant because guess what? These identity thieves that are out there have figured out that the title and mortgage to our homes are kept online. And their big payday comes when they forge your name off your home's title so it appears they own your house. Then they borrow all your equity till it's gone. So forget your insurance, forget your identity theft program, your bank theft program. They don't touch this. Home Title Lock does. And they're going to do it by locking down your home's online title and mortgage the first 60 days after crimes like this Amazon server Capital One breach are crucial. So I got you 60 risk-free days of Home Title Lock protection. Claim your 60 risk-free days of protection. HomeTitleLock.com. Enter your home address. We'll see if you're already a victim. Hey, that's HomeTitleLock.com. Go there now. You know who else will steal things? The Clintons. They'll steal your life.
Your life.
They'll steal your life. So let's go back on this whole thing because it's been trending lately, this Clinton body count. We've been talking about Jeffrey Epstein. Then people wanted to talk about the Trump body count, trying to get that trending. And I'm like, who's Donald Trump killed? I mean, he stabbed some ladies, but I don't think he's killed anybody.
He killed the hopes and dreams of every liberal in the country.
Yes. A lot of illegal immigrants, I'm sure.
He's a destroyer. You know, dreamers, dead. And I know what they're trying to say is they're trying to say, yeah, well, he's responsible for these people trying to cross the border and blah, 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 blah. Granted, those deaths are down from when Obama was in office, but we won't talk about that. I loved when Lawrence O'Donnell posted that picture of the Mexican kids eating pizza. and they're sitting in the detention center, and the little girl's got her head in her hands, and she's crying. And she's got a can of Coke. She's got some white cheddar popcorn in a bag, and she has a slice of pepperoni pizza there on a paper plate. And she's got her head in her hands, and she's crying. And then back behind her, there's these two boys eating their pizza and their sodas and their chips. And Lawrence O'Donnell says, how do you Trump supporters who voted for him feel about this, that this is what you've created? And it's a picture of a little girl crying. They're well-dressed. And the two boys in the back are off the chart in the weight percentile. I mean, they are fat. They are fat. Okay, these kids, I mean, this one kid has this giant gullet right here. You can't even tell where his neck is. He's a fat kid. They're two fat kids eating pizza, and they're just giggling and laughing and having their time.
That's why she was crying. They
probably ate her pizza.
They cut her in line, took her pizza away.
I responded. I said, I feel like those two huskies in the back need to lay off the free pizza. So everybody, of course, says, now you will stoop to every low there is. I mean, you're fat-shaming children. No, I'm shaming this system that is continually mocking ignorance and exploiting this thing through hypocrisy. Because, a couple of weeks ago, they were in concentration camps, right?
Right. I don't think you get fat in
You don't get fat in concentration camps. And now these kids are living the life of Riley from what I see. I mean, this little girl's probably crying because they changed Dora the Explorer off and put on Blue's Clues, and she's upset. I mean, who knows?
American concentration camps.
I mean,
you will
it's
get
dumb.
fat.
You will get fat.
So I'm not making fun of the kids. I mean, I am a little bit, 60 a day, kid. But I mean, did you see what Michelle Obama created in school cafeterias?
Yeah.
This crap, these kids are eating better than high school kids in America. My God. Michelle Obama screwed us, Mark.
Can you imagine she'd have truckloads of broccoli headed down to the border?
It is a good point, though. They talk about going low.
Yeah.
Oh, like what you said is lower than using and exploiting a young child who's upset in a picture for political gain.
You're the one using it.
That's the lowest of the low.
Who sticks a camera in a child's face
Exactly.
down there in order to do that? And I mean, anyway, I get sick of it. And people are like, this is low for you, Chad. You used to be better than this. No, not really. I never have been. I've always been I've told you over and over, I'm going to mock you. I don't care. I make fun of my own children. Of course I'm going to make fun of yours.
You should make fun of your own children.
Yes.
You got to get them tough.
Yeah.
Thick-skinned.
Got to beat that ass.
Well, I don't go that far, but
I do.
Yeah.
I know. But again, I told you. You see, you got one
Oh,
kid.
you
I got
wanted to,
5.
though.
You just cull one out of the herd. Right. The rest of them can watch. You only got to beat one of them. All right? And they learn by example.
Okay.
It's a true story. But so obviously they're blaming, Trump for the body counts crossing the border and stuff like this. But let's talk about the Clinton body count. I mean, it seems to be that if you've ever been connected in any way with the Clintons, you gonna die. I mean, you gonna die. Now, are they killing them? I don't think that Bill or Hill are out there pulling the trigger. And I can't say that they're putting hits out on people. That would seem just too far-fetched, right? But it's like the Kennedy curse. Something's up. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you're a Kennedy, you're probably not gonna live.
Right.
I mean, it's true, and that's a sad, tragic situation. But if you're Kennedy, you're probably not going to make it.
Yeah, you're giving Bill and Hillary more credit than I give them.
I probably am.
Yeah.
But I'm one of those guys who errs on the side of caution in that I'm like, well, I guess maybe they won the death lottery in that, maybe they're just so toxic that whoever touches their life dies.
Yes, but it's whoever touches their life in a bad way normally,
Well,
right?
it does. So you take Seth Rich, who's out for a walk in his neighborhood in Washington, D.C., and gets shot twice in the back, and they say, well, it was a robbery gone bad, but they find him with his wallet and money. Mm-hmm. That's a poor robbery right there. That's not.
It was a robbery that went bad. That means the guy got away and didn't take anything.
Well, he killed him.
Like,
I mean, it's supposed to be an easy transaction.
A great murder.
Once you
or
kill
robber.
him, it's pretty
Bad.
easy from
I
there.
mean, a robbery gone good is just an easy transaction. Like, okay, you want this? It's mine. You can have it now. Let's leave one another peacefully. But he got shot in the back, so that's a whole other deal. But according to history, Snopes, 1998, the body count meme, it originated in 1993 with Indianapolis lawyer and militia movement activist Linda Thompson, who compiled a list of 34 people connected to the Clintons who had passed away and titled it the Clinton Body Count. Coincidence or kiss of death? So William Dannemeyer, a notoriously homophobic, then retired congressman from Orange County, California, picked up the list, trimmed it to 24, sent it to congressional leadership in 94 as he ran for the U.S. Senate. So Linda Thompson, who compiled the original list, by her own admission, said she had no direct evidence that the Clintons were responsible for any of the deaths, and Snopes provides a comprehensive account of each death, most of which were easily explained heart attacks, plane crashes, or suicides. Oh, boy. So, of course, there was Vince Foster, who was the deputy of White House counsel who died of suicide in 1993. He was a colleague of Hillary Clinton's at the Rose Law Firm in Little Rock, Arkansas. Came to D.C. as part of the crew of Arkansas loyalists who were coming over the Clinton administration. And so he helped conduct the vetting of administration officials and said he felt like he had failed the president when Clinton's first two picks for attorney general were forced to withdraw because of revelations they hired undocumented immigrants. So he got wrapped up in some scandal surrounding the firing of the staff, and apparently he was struggling with depression, and he died by gun, suicide. So, of course, everybody's going to jump on it and say Vince Foster was murdered. Was he? Who knows? All right. It goes on and on and on. And I know there's people who are watching this or listening to this podcast right now, and they're like, oh, well, what about so-and-so, and what about so-and-so, and you know they killed this person, and you know, and in the wake of Jeffrey Epstein's death, which is crazy, there's somebody killed him. Mm-hmm. My personal thought is it had nothing to do with Trump or Clinton. I don't think it was political at all. I just think it was a power out there that, like, this got to go away.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it is suspect, though.
It's suspect.
Would you say that you agree that Bill Clinton is very tied to Jeffrey Epstein?
He was very really tied to Jeffrey Epstein.
Bad ways that we probably don't know about yet.
And okay, well, let's back this up. Let's use this syllogistic process, okay? Does anyone listening to this question that Bill Clinton has a problem with sex addiction? We know that. Everybody knows that. I mean, look, I'm friends with some of the women who have accused him and have won cases against him. Mm-hmm. I know the stories, okay? Everybody knows. Bill Clinton's done some creepy stuff. So we know that Jeffrey Epstein was running a sex thing, whatever it was, whether it was underage or whatever he was doing, because I don't think the underage thing happened for the entire time. I think it happened for a period of time. We don't know if anybody was involved with that or not. Some were. We don't know if Clinton was. But we know there was some creepy happening, right?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we don't deny that. We know that he was very tied to Jeffrey Epstein. There were secrets.
Yes.
There were secrets. Remember, Bill Clinton is the guy who came out, I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. And he lied. Mm-hmm. He perjured himself, and he lied. And we know that. So what's he lying about now? We don't know. Then you factor in Hillary Clinton. Now, this chick. Now, we know from Secret Service folks who have retired and gone on. I have personal friends who have worked on their detail, who are getting ready to retire from Secret Service or have retired from the Secret Service, and they tell stories about, they're like, it was rough. Now, like, we won't go into detail about it, but it was rough. She was hard to deal with, and I don't think anybody denies that or has a problem believing that. Okay? Now, you take Trump. Let's throw Trump under the bus. Did Trump have dealings with Jeffrey Epstein? Yes. To what degree, we don't know. We've seen a lot of accusations without proof, and we've seen a lot of deniability with proof. Mm-hmm. Okay? So, that being said, I don't hold Donald Trump up as some paragon or a model for my kids to pattern their lives after. Yes, Donald Trump's done some sexually deviant things in his life. He's a playboy.
Right.
He's been a playboy.
Right.
Had a reputation. Y'all loved him for it.
Yeah.
You praised him for being what he was, a billionaire playboy. You loved him for it.
Go on Howard Stern and say all sorts of stuff, and that was just who he was.
It's just who he was. Were fine with it. It's just you were proud that Trump would say whatever. Everybody loved him for it until all of a sudden he wasn't your guy anymore. Mm-hmm. Then you got scared. So, so Epstein's dead. He's dead. He's not living in Switzerland somewhere. He's dead. He's 86th. He's gone. Yeah. He's out of the picture. Did somebody kill him? I think there's power brokers out there far bigger than Bill Clinton or Donald Trump.
I agree.
Way bigger.
Yeah.
Way bigger. I mean, when you start thinking of the Bilderbergers and all the, the Illuminati got him. I don't even know. But it's crazy. But let's look at what we do know. There is a huge list of people that have been associated with the Clintons. You think they killed them. You think they had them killed.
I think
because it's mysterious deaths.
I'll say this: they're not torn up about the deaths. I can say that. I mean, Bill Clinton didn't turn on the news and shed a tear over the fact that now Jeffrey Epstein is dead.
No,
he's fine with it. But I mean, there are some deaths in this list. I'm sure you'll get into it, but there are some deaths like Mary Mahoney, for instance. She was a White House intern who was going to go public with being sexually harassed by Bill Clinton, and then all of a sudden was mysteriously murdered.
At Starbucks.
Yes, it's innocent until proven guilty, but you gotta wonder the coincidence and the timing of that one. It's like,
I'll go one even more. You take where'd it go? Ed Willie. Ed Willie.
Yes.
Kathleen Willie's husband. So Ed Willie, Clinton fundraiser. He's found dead November 1993, deep in the woods in Virginia. Gunshot wound to the head, ruled a suicide. Ed Willie died on the same day his wife, Kathleen Willie, claimed Bill Clinton groped her in the Oval Office in the White House.
Right. I mean, that's the timing there is.
That's.
And if there were just one of them that was out there, it would be a lot easier to say, okay, that's just a silly coincidence. But the fact that there are so many, that the timing is very suspect.
James McDougal, their partner, their Whitewater partner, apparent heart attack while in solitary confinement. I mean, that's convenient.
Right.
He was a key witness in Ken Starr's investigation into Whitewater. Of course, we talked about Vince Foster, Ron Brown, Secretary of Commerce, former DNC chairman. He died on impact from a plane crash.
And I think that
there was a hole in the pathologist in the investigation reported there was a hole in the top of Brown's skull resembling a gunshot wound.
Yes. And I think that one was the same one that they couldn't ever find the black box.
Right.
And then a few days later, the air traffic controller committed suicide.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah.
I mean,
just wait till the jailers get what's coming to them on Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, I hate to hear about him killing himself tomorrow.
What was that?
I hated to hear about him killing himself tomorrow. Yeah.
The Mel Gibson movie. What was that one where he was the government? He was like crazy, living in an apartment.
Yeah, where they had his mind control or whatever. The whole deal.
All they had to do is send out a message to their crazies, and they go do what they need done.
Just get locked in.
I believe that kind of stuff a little bit.
You probably do. I mean, okay, our government did stuff like psychological warfare stuff where they would do psychic, trying to train psychic soldiers and things like this and find people with, extra abilities and sixth sense kind of stuff.
Sure, we still have that.
So there's all kind of
some
stuff
at some level.
Yeah.
How about Barbara Wise? Commerce Department staffer, worked closely with Ron Brown. Cause of death unknown, died November 29, 1996. Her bruised, naked body was found locked in her office at the Department of Commerce.
Damn, what's going on at the office?
I mean, that is an office party gone wrong.
I mean, what's happening here? November 29th, that was probably getting ready to go home for Christmas and had them a Christmas party. It turned into Hans Gruber showing up and,
Look at
in a Bruce Willis movie.
Suzanne Coleman. Reportedly had an affair with Clinton when he was Arkansas Attorney General, died of a gunshot wound to the back of the head, ruled a suicide, was pregnant at the time of her death.
Oh, boy.
Because all of those people who shoot themselves as suicides, they like to do the gymnastics of doing it in the back of their own head.
You could shoot yourself in the back of the head.
I mean, you could, but would you?
No.
Yeah.
And I
did
hear,
if you didn't want to see it coming.
Of course, this is all speculation. But I did hear that there's a rumor that she was pregnant with Bill Clinton's baby.
Well, and that's the thing. That's why it gets like you're not accusing anybody of doing anything. You're just saying this is weird.
Yes.
How this stuff just starts popping up. I mean, you got people who have slit their wrist to kill themselves while they're in the middle of an investigation. You've got like Danny Casolaro. You got Paul Welcher. He was the attorney investigating corruption at Mena Airport with Casolaro and was found dead on a toilet June 22, 93 in his Washington, D.C. apartment.
That's not the way you want to go.
That's not where you want to go.
But with all these big powers you're talking about,
style.
like controlling things and stuff like that, when do the Clintons become a liability and you take them out? And I'm just asking that from a...
I don't know what the Clintons provide to the world that people really need at this stage in the game.
Yeah.
Okay, so like Bill Clinton, I can defend Bill Clinton's presidency and his policies as president. He did some good things. All right. Do I like the guy? No. Do I vote for the guy? No. But as a presidency, okay, he's a charmer. Mm-hmm. He knew how to get away with things, get things done. Like his policy? No, but I didn't like George W. Bush's policies either. But, was what it was. And I voted for him. So, anyway, it's not about politics here. I'm just looking at this thing. Like, I don't, like, what does Hillary Clinton provide to the universe at large right now? Nothing. She doesn't hold an office. She doesn't have there's nothing there. Yeah. Bill Clinton the same way. I mean, have you seen him lately?
He is not doing well. He does not look all there.
He's on the verge of suicide.
Golly. Starving this man to death.
Yeah, he does not look well.
No.
And remember when he did his, a book tour? And he was going out there saying all sorts of stuff that you were like, I don't think you want to say that, Bill.
Yeah. They're demented, dude. I'm just telling you, they're off the rails, these people. And so we could go on and on and on and on. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at, and I love just looking at some of these things. Attorney for Bill Clinton's friend Dan Lassiter died by jumping out a window of a tall building January 94. His client was a convicted drug distributor. There's account of Florence Martin, accountant and subtractor for the CIA, related to Barry Seal, Mena, Arkansas airport drug smuggling case, died of 3 gunshot wounds. How does this happen?
And here's the thing, Chad, that again, we're just speculating, right? I'm not in the business of, promoting conspiracy theories, but...
I mean, we are the Blaze, but whatever.
But, you talk about there are powers that are much bigger than the Clintons, and I agree with you, but I do find it interesting that there are a lot of these, when you look at this timeline of all of these mysterious deaths, there are a lot of these that took place when Clinton was just in Arkansas.
Right.
So it's bizarre that, they weren't the Clintons that they are now.
No.
They were involved in state politics. Yeah. So it's just bizarre that this has followed them throughout the years.
Well,
it didn't start when they got national.
If you want to take a look at things like, lack of better terms, Arkansas mafia.
Yeah.
I mean, so okay, they were power players in Arkansas, obviously, and doing what they were doing.
Real estate.
Are you just throwing words out?
Yeah, real estate. They were into real estate. That's big money.
That'll kill you. I mean, real estate will kill you.
It will kill you.
Thanks for that insight.
Think about it.
I'm thinking about it.
I don't know what I'm thinking about. But no, you have, I mean, they were power brokers in Arkansas. And a lot of those folks, you're right, that were tied to them when they were, in the governor's office or running for that. And I look at the Clintons. If you go back and you look at Bill Clinton's history, like with his mother, okay, she was very controlling, very domineering. He married a woman very much like his mother because he needed a woman to be in control. That's just, you have men that are like that, right? Yeah. And so they groomed him, and I think groomed her. And they groomed this Clinton family. How else does an Obama become president, who's a city, organizer, to a 2-year senator? And then I can tell you there's powers that be, people like David Geffen out there who put hundreds and millions of dollars out there. How does some guy from Hope, Arkansas,
right,
who becomes the governor of Arkansas, and then all of a sudden now he's one of the most political, one of the most powerful political figures in the U.S. history in the last 50 years? How does that happen? Yeah. Well, there's powers that be behind it. And they don't, let me tell you something. When you invest hundreds of millions of dollars into someone's political future, you don't let things get in the way. Mm-hmm. And if you don't believe that, then you're living in the wrong planet. And that's a fact. So was it them? We don't know. But it sure is awfully coincidental that you got 40 some odd people.
Look at 27. Read 27. And I was reading up on this one earlier this morning.
Yeah.
The Ives Henry case. that there was this big drug operation taking place at the airport in Arkansas. And they were, they had a grand jury that was supposed to hear all of this testimony. These boys were supposed to testify in this, in this case. Mysteriously ended up, who doesn't fall asleep on the railroad tracks?
Yeah.
So they fell asleep on the railroad tracks, very deep sleep. So they could not hear the train coming, obviously, or feel the vibrations of the ground. And so they ruled it, that was the death. And then later on, they brought their bodies back out and did another autopsy, an independent autopsy. And then they determined both of them had actually been killed before their bodies were placed on the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
So it's just...
But just to come out and say, it's Arkansas. Who knows? Maybe they do sleep on the railroad tracks out there. This was like a good place. I lay down in the gravel and the cross ties, and just put my head up on this steel rail.
I don't know what people in Arkansas do.
Exactly.
But it is curious that, the autopsy performed under, Clinton's guy who performed it said that all of a sudden it's not Clinton's guy, it's an independent person, and they determined, oh no, wait, one of them was shot in the head and the other one was stabbed in his back before they got run over by a train.
And who was the dude that was supposed to testify with, back when Hillary with the email thing was going on, and all of a sudden he just drops a 25-pound weight on his head while he's working out in the gym?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, that was during the email scandal. I'm trying to think of his name, but he was a government official, and it was a black guy. Gosh, what's his name? And he's working out, and he drops a 25-pound dumbbell on his head.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It just he was supposed to testify on Monday, working out on Friday.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
But look how many people, you talk about that Ives Henry thing. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people who died in connection with that. You're talking about.
Before they could testify, right?
Keith McCaskill was stabbed 113 times.
Just the 113, though.
Jeff Rhodes shot, mutilated, found burned in a trash dump. James Milan found decapitated.
Jeez.
However, the coroner ruled his death was due to natural causes. You can't make this crap up.
Wow.
Oh, you got Stanley Huggins. Investigated Madison Guarantee. His death was purported suicide. His report was never released. You of course it's it's purported. This purported. You got how many people their planes have exploded in the sky? It's just ludicrous when you see all this stuff. And I'm like, okay. And I know we're getting into some deep state craziness here.
How else do you explain it?
How else? I want you to tell me. You're listening,
Please.
You're watching. I'm just throwing this stuff out there. Do you realize 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of their bodyguards have been killed. 12 of their bodyguards, their personal bodyguards and staff.
That's not a job I would be applying for at this point
Have
in
died.
time.
And we mentioned Seth Rich. This whole thing, it just goes on and on and on. He was murdered / quote, robbed of nothing on July 10th of that year. WikiLeaks found Assange claims he had info on the DNC email scandal. So, it's stuff, man. It's crazy.
You know why we're allowed to talk about this? Because the mainstream media has people going on to MSNBC or whatever channel it was saying that Trump is a white supremacist because he did this secret thing where he had the flag at half-mast for 8 days and he was
raised it on 8/8.
Right, because 8/8 is tied to, it's how Hitler, right, HH. So it's like they purport all of these crazy things, all of these crazy conspiracy theories. There's absolutely, even if you looked at context and not just evidence, right? Because we don't have evidence here.
Right.
This is it's just coincidence, just speculation.
Yeah, just chalk it up to coincidence.
They use far less to try to call Donald Trump all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So I don't feel bad about taking all of these actual events that happened and speculating on the context of them because...
Well, and you and I, we can't do anything to the Clintons. We can't bring the Clintons down. There's nothing to bring them down from. They're not anything.
Yeah.
They're a political voice. I call it a deep state voice, whatever. There's, maybe Hillary is just out walking in the woods in a muumuu. I don't know.
Selling books at the discount counter.
I mean, I don't know. They're selling tickets $5 a piece for their public speaking tours. I mean, it's weird, drawing tens and tens of people. I mean, they're done. It's over. And I get sick of people on social media when you bring up the Clintons or you bring up Obama, and they're like, well, who's talking about them? Well, that's the freaking problem. Nobody's talked about them. Nobody's talking about them on the left. Well, no, I know that. That's the problem. That's why we're talking about it, because you guys have run roughshod over a justice system and have not cared one iota about a sense of reckoning or justice for things that have been done. Not investigating anything. I mean, tell me how in the hell you have a Steele dossier that was purchased from Russians by the Clinton Foundation, brings this thing in here on a FISA warrant that it was unjustified from the Obama administration, and yet you're going to spend 2 years and $30 million investigating Trump collusion with Russia and say he is a Putin puppet and the Kremlin has put him up as an asset and a spy of Russia? Are you me? I mean, Donald Trump is a Russian spy. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Come on, covfefe. I mean, it's stupid.
It is. It's very stupid. I mean, I will say there is a part of me that I hide deep down inside, but I'm going to share today for some reason. I wanted Hillary and Bill to just be held accountable for something. Like, I wanted them to just go down. I wanted her to go down for the email scandal or Benghazi or, anything, any of the things that they've done behind the scenes. And it just pisses me off that they've been able to stay above the fray this entire time. We're demonizing, Donald Trump because he had the flag at half-mast for 8 days. But these people have done all of these terrible things. I mean, Hillary Clinton, there are enough documents, I would say, to at least prove that she was very nasty and had people do very terrible things to these women who accused Bill Clinton of what he did.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, she got people to intimidate them and harass them, and she's just a terrible, evil person, in my opinion, and I just wish that somehow there would be justice for that.
Yeah, so you can list off those things, and we know that's a fact. Because she used intimidating tactics and things like that to bully these people into submission. But you go back to, again, the FISA warrant and the Steele dossier. Why? Why aren't we looking at that? 33,000 emails. Are you kidding me?
Right.
With hammers and bleach bit, and you're breaking phones and all this kind of stuff. And, I mean, you got people who have shared emails that were classified, maybe one or two, and they go to prison for that?
Right.
BS.
Yeah, I know. And it just pisses me off. I mean, they're never going to see justice, right? They're going to live out their golden years and, keep all their money. And,
I mean, he gets a, $400,000, $500,000 speaking fee in Russia?
Yeah.
And Trump's the colluder?
Right.
Right. A germaphobe? Donald Trump, a germaphobe's getting pissed on by a Russian prostitute? I don't think so. I mean, that's just stupid.
Yeah.
It's just dumb.
It really pisses me off.
Yeah. Anyway. Steve, when's the last time you got peed on?
It's been a while. I was wondering where you get a Russian prostitute that'll pee on you. Is there like
you don't just find that on Craigslist? That's not a Craigslist thing?
They cut all that.
Yeah, Donald Trump cut all that out. You can't traffic your body.
That's right.
You can't do female work online anymore. Remember,
right.
that's the feminist came out and said that he's harming, Donald Trump's harming these women's right to work by selling their bodies because that's their, sex work, sex trade. He's outlawed the sex trade, and these women have a right to work.
That's true.
Girl power.
Girl
power.
Amen, sisters.
I mean, he's taking away the power you girls have. That's like this, what's the dude, the Jessica Viver, whatever, the transgender? Yaniv.
Jessica
Yaniv. Jimmy John, whatever her name is. And she's talking about on Twitter about how this is the real world, people. This is the real world. This is why I don't care. This is why I'll say what I want to say, and I don't care. I don't care. Because as crass as I get in mocking this stuff, it's still not as bad as what this stuff is. Jessica Yaniv, who says, "Oh, well, I went to the pool, but I couldn't get in the pool because I started my period."
Oops.
And it felt so good. It was so exciting. No woman has ever said, "I started my period And I'm so excited about it.
Yay.
I'm happy about it. And there's women 35, 40 years old still getting their stuff, and they're like, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God. I mean, like, trust me.
And they'll still get in a pool with a big old thick pad under that
Yeah,
baby
but she didn't
suit.
have a tampon.
No.
She didn't have a tampon. That was what her Twitter
Steve, that
said. She didn't
doesn't
have a
happen.
tampon.
Roll up toilet paper
I'm
like everybody
what the-
else.
I'm like, where are you going to stick it? Where are you going to stick it? 2 weeks ago, Jessica Yaniv was because they wouldn't wax her balls. Where are you going to stick the paper?
But-
What's bleeding? You got an anal fissure? What's going on? If I pee blood out of my man parts, I'm going to the doctor. Something's wrong.
You may want to get that checked
What are you
out.
bleeding out of? I mean, just how hard did they wax your balls? Are you raw? Started my period. You can't start your period. You're a freaking dude.
That was a perplexing one.
I'm sick of it. Fat Mexicans and girl dudes. Quit eating pizza. Screw it. I don't care. I don't care.
I see that.
It's just dumb. The hypocrisy is so dumb.
It is.
I don't care.
It is. Well, I mean, it's just truth doesn't matter anymore.
You're going to show me a fat Mexican kid eating pizza and soda. And then you're going to tell me he's in a concentration camp. You're going to take a picture of him. He's at 117 off the percentile chart of fat of his weight. You're like, that's fat shaming. Well, his doctor calls it diabetes. So here's the thing. You're going to sit there and feed this kid junk food and then tell me that we're mistreating him down there? And they're sitting there, there's upholstered chairs and cushions and there's, whatever.
I've got it.
What?
I've got it.
It's hypocrisy.
I've got it. Donald Trump is feeding them this junk food on purpose.
Yeah.
Just to make them obese so that they'll die sooner.
Of diabetes.
That's what it is.
So
CNN headlines all day.
No, he's a forward-thinking, four-dimensional chess player. He's getting them fat, so it's harder for them to cross the wall. Yeah, I used to say these guys can
evil.
They can go anywhere a mouse can go. Just dig through any hole. Just shimmy, shimmy, shimmy.
Not anymore.
So you know what? He's a forward-thinking, next-generation guy. Yeah, you might get in this generation, but you fat asses aren't coming in the next.
You don't see any sumo wrestlers going over the wall.
And look, y'all can kiss my butt because I've spent my time in those countries working with the poorest of the poor.
It's true.
The poorest of the poor.
He's
I've
got
been
street
there.
cred.
I do, months at a time down there working in these villages where there is no, where I can remember the village chief. I've told this story. Village chief in Honduras one time. We said, what's your biggest need in the village? He said, a television. We said, why? And he said, they don't have anything to do when the sun goes down. They keep having babies. We got to do something to occupy their time when it becomes nighttime. This was real story. Like that was his solution. We're having too many babies in the village. We can't do anything with all these babies. Woman's just getting pregnant. So we need a television. That was it. He said that's our biggest need.
Wow.
We need something to entertain them at night.
They need Netflix, but no chill.
I'm like, not a clean well, no television.
Wow.
So I've seen it.
Put some birth control on the pizza.
We've had children die waiting in line for medical attention. My mother and I, we helped bury a child. Had a little funeral service for this baby. Who died. They were on their way trying to get medical attention that we were giving in the clinics that we had set up there. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen the humanity of this.
Yeah.
So you guys that are exploiting this stuff on the border with your first world perspectives can kiss my butt because you're wrong. And it's just, you're wrong. I've said over and over again, it's a security problem. It's a humanity problem. We got to deal with the humanity, but it's not what you're trying to make it out to be, and that is ludicrous. It's mockery of what's really going on in these countries. And let me tell you something. These folks living up in these villages, they're not the ones with the iPhones that are walking down and then trekking all the way across Mexico to get to Tijuana.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing that.
No.
That's not them. This is a whole different clan of people, and it's grown 33%. 33% more people are coming to the border now than when Obama was in office. There are hundreds of thousands of people.
I mean, if you really cared about these people and your position was that it's dangerous for them to be in these facilities, in these detainment facilities. People are dying, right? There were a couple headlines of young kids who died in custody of Border Patrol. And oh my goodness, how could this happen? Well, maybe if you thought that that was really an issue and that it was dangerous for them to be there, stop frickin' telling them to come over here.
Stop telling them it's a free ride.
Stop telling them that. I mean, It's just like, who are you to tell me that I'm unkind or I don't care about humans when you're the ones who are actually telling them, hey, you guys should put yourself in harm's way to come over here because we're going to give you a whole bunch of free stuff.
Add them to the Clinton body count. Because the Clintons could come out at any time and say, this has got to stop. That's the thing that bugs me. The left, why doesn't the left come out at any time and say, this has got to stop? Mm-hmm. These hundreds of thousands of people coming to the border.
They used to.
Yeah.
Not even that long ago.
Exactly.
I mean, Joe Biden, when he was running with Obama, there's video of him all over the place talking about how illegal immigrants need to be sent home.
Obama. He said, if you send them up here, I don't care how they come, we're going to send them right back.
Send them back. And he was talking about kids,
they
for God's sake.
They might not make it. They might not make it. If they make it, was what he said. You need to see my exclusive interview with Barack Obama from Tad Papafopoulos on Humor Me. You can get that by going to blazetv.com/humor and use promo code Chad. Get your first month free, not three. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, they said it. But they could condemn it right now, but they don't do that.
Well, because they want to use, minorities for political advantage.
By the way, Sarah's a skinny Mexican. Okay,
Thank you.
She's a skinny Latina.
And I would like to say I get skinny shamed all the time. No one seems to care about that. No one
you
has
used
a problem
to be a
with
fat
that.
Latina.
I did.
You were a porky Latina.
I was very porky. I stopped eating all that pizza they were giving me at the concentration camp. I said,
now I can slip right through the bars.
I said, Border Patrol, I've had it. Don't feed me any more of that pizza. I'm getting skinny so I can get out of here. And that's what I did.
They tell me, oh, you're fat shaming kids. You just go down to the lowest point. See,
it's ridiculous. The point is there to be made. Yeah. Either we're starving them in concentration camps and treating them poorly, or we're not.
Or we're feeding them too much.
Exactly.
And the pizza ain't free. Remember, folks, there's no such thing as government funded. No such thing.
It's people funded.
That's exactly right.
Did you see the Trump administration came out and said that they're not going to they're going to use if an immigrant is here using food stamps or certain government assistance programs, that they're going to use that as a reason to deny a green card. I love it. I'm happy about it.
I think it's a great plan.
It's a great plan.
Yeah, get off the tit.
Yes, exactly. Why should we be encouraging people to come here and have all of us
live
pay
off
for
the
them?
welfare system.
Right, and have all of us pay for. I work hard.
Okay,
I work really hard.
So look, blacks over illegals. I mean, that let's look at it like that. If you're born in this country and you're poor and you need welfare to get a hand up, not just a handout, but a hand up, not to live a lifestyle of welfare, and many people do. But let me tell you, if you're born in this country, why in the world would you want the benefits that you should be receiving because you need them as an American citizen going to someone who's here illegally? Why are you shooting yourself in the foot? Mm-hmm. Well, let me tell you, and I've said this over and over again, you can get mad at me, I don't care. The black community has been forgotten by the Democrats.
Yes.
The black community, it doesn't matter anymore. It's all about the illegals because they know they have the majority of the black community in their grasp.
Yes.
Under their control.
They've brainwashed them so many years.
Yeah.
They're not worried about it.
I grew up, growing up, my grandfather had a guy that worked for him who eventually worked for my brother. And I can remember him, black guy, and great guy. And he said, my grandmother taught us how to milk the system from childhood.
Wow.
He said we were taught how to take advantage of the system.
Yep.
We learned that from childhood because we would have these debates about, this whole living on welfare thing and getting and look, welfare is a great thing. Thank God we live in a country where people can get assistance and can get help. And this stuff about universal health care, nobody gets denied health care. If you're in an emergency situation, you go to the emergency room, they cannot turn you away. I don't care. Listen to me, Sweden. Listen to me, Germany. Listen to me, California. Listen to me, you other crazy people down under who I love you, but some of you are just nuts. And the folks in Canada that want to talk about your universal health care, you don't get turned away in America.
Yeah. I saw a headline over the weekend that made me so angry. And maybe it's because I have a background in health insurance. I'm a licensed health insurance broker.
Too.
And so
I just want to see if I could do it. So I did.
So really?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's passing the test and everything. It's not easy, right? And government officials go over and talk like they know what they're talking about when it comes to health insurance. I'm like, you need to go take that test because you clearly have no idea. But I saw a headline over the weekend that there was a murder-suicide. Terrible. I believe it was in the DFW area. And they found a note that the husband had said, my wife has too many medical problems. We can't afford to pay for, the prescriptions or whatever. It was her prescriptions specifically. And, I don't know how we're going to do it. And so he killed her and then killed himself and, called 911 ahead of time to let them know. And I thought, that's terrible, right? That's terrible that happened. I would like to see further proof, right, of their finances. But then I thought, but what else should we expect when we have a media and we have an entire political party who is telling these people over and over again that people are dying without health care and it's the rhetoric that's causing this mass panic. It's not actually happening. Just like you said, you're not going to get turned away if you go, right? And if you're paying a portion of your bills, they're always going to allow it. You're not going to go to jail. Nothing's going to happen to you. So it's really the rhetoric that's being spread. It's causing this panic. It's causing these people to think, I'm going to die. I'm going to be out on the streets. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Well, no, we have a welfare program and assistance for people who are in need. But it's this rhetoric that's making these people think that they don't have a chance in this world. Right. And it's just really upsetting that it's gotten to that point because I saw so many people blaming health insurance companies. I'm like, health insurance companies didn't have anything to do with how much that prescription medication was. Right. So it's just, it's frustrating. They didn't set that cost. Yeah. The pharmaceutical companies did. So there's just so much confusion and, induced panic happening with these political parties. And it's turned to this.
Well, I'll leave you guys with this one last thought. Sarah, thank you for being on the show.
Sure.
Steve, thank you for breathing our air. Puppet Master.
Welcome.
Thanks for making us look good.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you for that, Mark.
Thanks for blushing when I say inappropriate things.
Yep.
Mark's so innocent.
That murder-suicide, it was the Clintons. I love y'all. God bless. See you next time. Bye.